Hi. I think I did it. I think it works. Let me watch my little stream to see if it's actually working the way I think it's working. It is. Hi guys. This is weird. I never do live things alone. It's also just weird being alone in this studio at night. I'm alone here during the days relatively often, but uh it feels extra creepy being alone here at night. So, but I like creepy things, so maybe it's good. Maybe I'll find out if we actually have ghosts or not. Hi guys. Sorry, this is kind of a weird last minute plan. We found out Friday that Alex was going to be out today. So Joey and Nick had this plan to do an artifact stream based on the tournament that happened this weekend, and we were going to do all that. But IGN is having some sort of meltdown fire situation, computer explosions, etc. So I think they're still there right now. So it just wasn't plausible to get that stream up in time to do that tonight. So I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out in the Corals Corner part of Discord, and I have YouTube chat up as well. So yeah, I haven't done a Corals Corner in a minute, since I think before Thanksgiving. So you guys should tell me what y'all had for Thanksgiving. I did like LA Orphan Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving Day. We had any other stragglers who were stuck in town and didn't have family around would come over, and we'd do Thanksgiving at our house and host it, which is always nice. I've done that a few years, and it's really pleasant. It's a little tricky usually because I'm vegetarian and Adam's vegetarian, but like the mix of people that come over aren't always all vegetarian, and it's like people have a very strong attachment to turkey on Thanksgiving, and I can't and won't make turkey. Everyone's welcome to bring whatever they want, but I'm not going to do like traditional Thanksgiving fare. So last year I did LA Orphan Thanksgiving, and I made like homemade seitan, which I think is really good, but I think if you're not, if you don't grow up vegetarian, it might seem kind of weird, and that wasn't a huge hit among the meat eaters. So this year I just did Italian food, because Italian food is very easy to make, a lot of filling vegetarian food, and everyone doesn't feel like they're eating weird vegetarian stuff. So that was much easier, went over much better. I made some eggplant parm, which I've been making for years, and I think I've finally mastered eggplant parm. Yeah, I'm looking at chat and stuff now. Amboy made veggie fried rice for Thanksgiving. That sounds good. Tofurkey. The store-bought tofurkeys, maybe it's gotten better. When I had it last, it was like very bad. It's very dry and rubbery and dense and gross. DMAX JTV, doesn't really take 8 hours to make pasta sauce. It does if you're making the kind I made for eggplant parm, and if you do it correctly, it does. But it's very low maintenance. Like it's like 30 minutes of prep, and then you just kind of leave it alone and stir it once every hour or two. Literally, that's it. My trick for really good long pasta sauce is you get like the whole canned tomatoes and your garlic and everything, and you mash it all up, and you bring it to a simmer on the stovetop. But then instead of cooking it on the stove all day, you put it in the oven at like 315 with like the lid on it, but mostly a jar, and with like the olive oil, it all kind of caramelizes and comes together, and it's like really good, like rib sticking, really good sauce. So that's how I make sauce when I'm doing something like eggplant parm that's supposed to be really dense and heavy, and it's worth it because it's actually not that hard. You just have to be awake 10 hours before you want to eat dinner, which is, I think, pretty doable for most people. Forgot Toothpick was sick on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. I remember one time I got my braces tightened, like really a serious tightening, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and it meant I couldn't eat anything except mashed potatoes. I was also so whiny about braces. I know other people complain about it, but I think I complained about it more than the average person, and I would just like refuse to eat for 2 days, and I just whined about it. I really did not handle having braces very well, so that might be on me. Do, 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 do. Italian use a bunch of vodka just for cooking. Oh, yeah. That always scares me. My mom makes really good penny vodka sauce, but I haven't tried to do it. Or like an arrabbiata, whatever the spicy tomato sauce is. You can make it where you like actually set it on fire, or like shrimp fra diavolo, you set it on fire. I don't trust myself or my small kitchens that I've had as an adult so far to handle that. But yeah, that's it. Oh, the other half of really good eggplant parm is that is how you make the eggplant, which a lot of people think they don't like eggplant, but you just probably haven't had it cooked very well. And if you want really good eggplant, you have to cut it really thin, like really thin, and then make sure it's peeled first, and then you salt it, top and bottom. I do like a layer of paper towels, salt the paper towel, put the eggplant slices on it, salt the eggplant slices, another paper towel, salt, keep going, and you leave it like that for like at least 30 minutes or more like an hour, and the salt pulls out all the bitterness and also all the moisture, and if you have it stacked with paper towels, it'll just absorb all that liquid, which makes it cook a lot better. And then I don't use like breadcrumbs because I think they get too weighted down once you layer it in the sauce and cheese and everything, and they just kind of get mushy. I just do like a really seasoned egg wash and some seasoned flour, just all-purpose flour, and then you fry it, and then once you're done, you layer it with your sauce and your cheese, and it is literally the best eggplant parm I've ever had, and it is my own. I'm very proud of it. So, yeah. I think I'm gonna go look at the Corals Corner part of Discord now and look at some questions. Can you tell that I really like not doing this live so that I have the ability to edit it and have total control over everything before anyone else sees it? Because I do. JP Beardley, dear Coral, what is your favorite Bauhaus song? Any similar music suggestions? Silent Hedges is maybe my favorite Bauhaus song. It's on every Halloweeny fall playlist I make. There's a lot of good post-punk out there. I like the Chameleons. They're not quite as dark, but they're like less listened to. They're pretty good, and they're from like the same era. And then Preoccupations actually put a new album out very recently, and they're really good, and they're like a very modern, post-punky kind of vibe. If you like Bauhaus and you want more modern music like that, I recommend Preoccupations. Forgotten Toothpick, dear Cole, would you ever make a Thanksgiving turkey made out of tofurkey? I think I would just do seitan. That's the only fake meat I've ever made myself, and it's pretty reliable and it's pretty flexible. I just think tofurkey's really, it tastes super processed, because it is super processed. I just don't like it very much. Did you like the cooking stream you did? I did. I thought that was fun. I like cooking, and it's hard. Like, I couldn't really do a cooking stream on my own because I would just get too distracted. Like, I couldn't do both talking like a normal person and also cooking at the same time. So that would need to be a group thing, but I think I cook way more than any of the guys do. Nick cooks, and I think Joey cooks too, but I think I still kind of take the cake, as it were. Seitan's just raw gluten, right? Yeah, it's Vital Wheat gluten flour. It's like you get it as a flour, and then you can like rinse out. I get like the separated flour where it's already separated into what it needs to be, but you can get a more basic flour and do the rinsing process yourself. But it's basically flour, and whenever you get it wet, it turns into like a really elastic kind of strange dough, and then there's a million things you can do with it from there. I like to quick fry it and then simmer it in some like heavily seasoned broth for a little bit, and then if you throw it under a broiler after that, it'll get nice and crispy on the edges but still be really juicy inside. It's the best way to do it. Dear Cole, what's your favorite bot command? I don't know. I don't know the bot command. Please, some bot commands in the chat, please, and I can go from there, because there's a lot. I don't like any with my face. anything that doesn't have me in it, I like more. This talk is making me hungry. Sorry. I like talking about food, and I can talk about food for a long time, so it is a safety for me. Shahan, I do not like that bot command. No, that is a pass. I picked a good gym setting, though. Have you ever written fanfic? No. That's crazy. That's like the thought of sitting down and writing fanfic is wild to me. I used to read some fanfic, like probably middle school or like early high school, and not like nothing wild back in the day, just like shows I was watching, like probably Buffy. I've heard rumors that there's very good saucy Riverdale fanfic that is just the most over-the-top, crazy, kind of sappy, weird stuff ever. And that might be entertaining, but I haven't dived into it. A Kotoruku mentioned the Tumblr apocalypse, which, yeah, if you are not up to date on Tumblr news, which you probably shouldn't be because it's not very relevant anymore, but Tumblr announced that on December 17th, they will not allow any adult content, which includes, I think their direct phrase was, female presenting nipples, which is the most, like, someone in the Tumblr office knew, saying like, oh, female nipples, that's like, we can't say that because then everyone's doing the whole Free the Nipple campaign, and if you use that phrase and you're directly not allowing like this part of the body of a woman, but on men it's fine, like people are going to call you out and be mad at you for that. So how do we make that phrase sound less problematic? How do we woken up the phrase no female nipples? And somehow they landed on female presenting nipples, which is like not the right phrase. Like, your nipples don't identify as one gender or another because they're not, I don't know. But that whole issue is such a good microcosm of all the issues of Tumblr, where they've been getting in trouble because they are not coming down hard enough on things like Nazis and white supremacists or like child porn on their site, and their solution is to just be like, no horny people on Tumblr anymore, as if that's gonna solve any of the problem they actually have and not just make their site less usable for a lot of people. And it's kind of a bummer because there are a lot of people who use Tumblr as a point for their business, of whatever adult business that is, because it has historically been a safer place for any kind of adult content than other social media sites. So all those people who've built some sort of career off adult content and Tumblr for the last however many years have been given essentially 2 weeks notice that they need to move their entire business and change their entire formatting plan to something else. So that's a bummer. But that's also not surprising for Tumblr. Sean, are you a fan of Andy Warhol? I had to go see his exhibit for an art class recently, and gotta say, not a big fan. Not so much anymore. I think there was a phase, like, any artsy 14-year-old white girl has, like, a really big Andy Warhol phase, and, like, a really big Edie Sedgwick and Factory Girl, and, like, that whole, the mod art culture, specifically that subsect of it, of the 60s, is really appealing to, I think, a lot of preteen and teen girls at a certain point. And then I think as I got older, I just found it more boring, and like Andy Warhol does one thing and does the pop art thing very well. I'm just not really interested in like what pop art has to say about the world, at least in that space. Is just not super interesting to me anymore. But I do like screen printing and silk screening and stuff as an art form. I think is cool and fun, and a thing I wish I still did, but I used to do a lot of. And it's probably directly because when I was 14 I really liked Andy Warhol, so I guess I have him to thank for that. I don't know. don't, I feel like should be against code of conduct to post a Persona song in my corner, Burbda. Just saying. Incognito, dear Kroll. If you were to have a WWE style intro song that preceded you in every room, what would it be and why? This is one of those questions where this would go better if I, was pre-recording this and could edit it. So look forward to that next time. Yeah, Antboy similar with Andy Warhol. He got me into printmaking, but that's really all. Yeah, I think he just really popularized, like, hey, this thing that we use to make reproductions and fabrics and, like, consumer products rather than art can also be used for art. And that's cool. And I like the idea behind that. I just don't. The soup can thing, it's fine. Dear Coral, what do you want for Christmas? I'm hoping my parents get me a new phone. But that's a big ask. Other than that, just like permission to go somewhere pricier than I usually go for dinner in LA is usually my favorite thing. Pervza, thanks for trying to cover new Ariana Grande video. I'm sorry Alex exists. We got through way more of that video than I thought we would. I thought for sure we were going to get 30 seconds in with 5 pauses and then move on to the next thing. So I was pretty pleased with how all that went. And he hasn't even seen most of those movies, so I'm sure he suffered a lot. For that, I appreciate it. What phone do you currently have? I have an iPhone 6S, and it's still doing okay for the most part. I am out of replacements. Like I have AppleCare, and I have a big crack. Oh, can you see it? Kind of. There's a big crack right there, and then it like also comes down and crashes my whole phone. So, and it's just getting a little slow, Sometimes when it gets down to like 20%, the battery will just say that that's it. That's its lowest point. That's as much as it wants to work, even though it has theoretically a whole 1/5 of battery life left. It just gives up at 20%. So that's kind of fun. So I'd be fine for a new one. Mostly just for a new updated camera. You get to that point where you like don't want to post anything on Instagram anymore because you realize all your posts look worse in photo quality than everyone else's, and then you just don't post as much. So a new phone would be nice. Ace in the Sky asked, is there anything that gets you really excited and brings you up from typical low energy Coral to I'm actually losing my shit Coral? There's like a handful of people and alcohol and some combination therein, maybe that with like certain movies or TV shows that I'm excited about, but it's mostly just like a personal space kind of thing. Like it's very dependent on the people I'm with, not even like from a comfort level thing, because there's plenty of people that I'm very comfortable being around that just don't, that's just not the energy level that we vibe on. And then there's other people that if I'm with them, they're more of that, and they're more of that in a way that brings that out of me. So I think it's very socially dependent. But even losing my shit Coral is not super vibrant. Chris the Anning Hero said, skateboarding or snowboarding, and why? I've never tried to snowboard because it sounds awful. I'm not a sporty person, and I'm also not a cold weather person, so snowboarding sounds absolutely genuinely terrible. I tried skateboarding a little when I was very young, and that is actually how I lost my 4 front baby teeth, was skateboarding downhill one day and just face planted real bad and left 4 of my teeth on the ground. And I think that might have been it for my skateboarding career, but that's more than I ever did snowboarding, so I guess skateboarding is my answer. Forgotten Toothpick asked about any cool Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals. I just bought a lot of clothes. I was thinking about buying a computer. I know I mentioned I was going to buy a computer, but I chickened out because they're very expensive. I don't know the last time you guys bought a Macintosh laptop, but it turns out they want you to give them a bunch of money to take one of those home, even on Black Friday. And I was afraid of that, so instead I spent a much smaller percent of that amount of money on things like shoes and crop tops and sweatpants. That all sounds really lame. I got cute stuff too. I don't know why I gravitated towards all the not cute stuff I got. I got some dresses. I got like a nice bag too. It's good. Straight downhill. Damn, young girl was hard AF. I think I was just dumb and didn't have a good understanding of physics yet, and it was just a bad idea. Oh, Shahan, alcohol just brings me down. I'm sorry. I know that it's a gamble, at least for me, because it's like 1 in every 5 times I'm gonna be like, oh, I just feel sadder than I did before, not loosened up at all. But most of the time that doesn't happen. But I'm also like, I'm a young person in Los Angeles, California, where everyone smokes weed all the time, and I cannot do that. It just doesn't, whatever it is, it doesn't work with me. I just feel very anxious and stuck in my own head, and as soon as I feel even remotely stoned, I can only think about how much I wish I wasn't stoned anymore. So I vibe with you on that, like, oh, this substance that brings everyone joy makes me feel bad. Are those studio lights the only lights you guys normally use in the studio? I guess, yeah, because during the day I'm usually in one of the back rooms that isn't all duved, so I have plenty of sunlight, and then when it starts to get dark, that's when I would be in here getting everything ready for the show anyway, so I just turn all the lights on. Like, we have normal lights in the kitchen that we use and stuff, but there isn't like a ceiling light in this room or anything. The only lights we have even plugged in this main part of the house are studio lights, so yeah. Everyone's sharing their snowboarding experiences. First time I ever went down the bunny slope while skiing, I went just straight down because I didn't know how to turn or slow down and just had to bail and wipe out before. Yeah, that sounds terrible. So I can barely, so there's the airport bus, like not to the airport, but if you're in Atlanta, the Atlanta airport is so huge that there's like the train system that you have to take. I know a bunch of airports have this, but the Atlanta one in particular, like, my balance is so bad. I can't ride like public transit without needing to hold on to something. There's plenty of people who casually have like a grasp on it but don't really need it, but I need it. I will fall down if I'm on a bus or a subway or the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport plane train. I will fall down because my balance is absolutely terrible. So I don't think snowboarding would really be for me, or skiing. Yeah. J-Rad, what happened to the gang? Yeah, no one's sick. Alex got busy with some, I don't know, job thing. I don't really know the details. And Nick and Joey are just stuck late at their IGN jobs. So it's just me tonight. Sorry. I think maybe that's it. That might be everything. Let me go back over to Discord. Yeah, now there's just the gif of me punching Nick, which looks pretty good, I have to say. Yeah. Oh, I did So last night there was a Buster Keaton festival going on at one of the theaters in LA, and I didn't know about it until Sunday morning, but that was lucky for me because Sunday night was the night they premiered this Buster Keaton documentary that came out this year, and then after they were doing like a double feature of that and my favorite Buster Keaton movie, which is Sherlock Jr. So I went to go do that last night, and it was just really great. If you think you might possibly enjoy silent film, like slapstick stunt comedy at all, I really, really recommend Buster Keaton. And I think, especially watching Sherlock Jr. again, it's so stunning to me how ageless that comedy is and that skill is, and how, even though film was relatively new at that point, so much of Sherlock Jr. is about, like, film tropes and engaging with cinema as a fan of cinema and as a viewer, and it's stunning how established like movies are already at the time. And this movie came out in like 1922 or whatever, but the documentary is called like The Great Buster, and it's fine if you're looking for like an hour and a half primer on Buster Keaton's life. That's a good one. I didn't find it particularly insightful, or like there wasn't a lot of new information. If you're a Buster Keaton fan at all, there's a handful of like stories about Buster Keaton and factoids that get passed around all the time, and those are all in there. So I still enjoyed it. It's still really nice to hear everyone from like Mel Brooks to Werner Herzog to Johnny Knoxville to Sybil Shepherd, all these like very discordant people in entertainment today talk about how inspirational they found Buster Keaton. And that stuff was kind of cool. But the documentary's fine. Mostly I think everyone should take some time and watch some good Buster Keaton movies. The ones from the 20s, before he started working at MGM Studio. He had like a decade where he made a bunch of full-length films in the 20s. And they're all very good, and they're very interesting. And he was very good at his job. All right. Now I think that is it. So I'm going to bounce and get some food and go home and pet my cat. And yeah. Yeah, all right. Thank you for hanging out with me while I do this. Sorry we didn't have the normal main show, and then we also didn't have the substitute show we planned. So this is like an alternate for an alternate. But thank you for sticking around for that. And we will be back with our usual goodness or badness, usual showness on Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we are still working, I know we've kind of teased it a little bit, but there is like a more podcasty thing in the works. We were hoping to maybe record that tonight after the show. Obviously that's not going to happen, so maybe we'll record it tomorrow. The plan was to get it out this week on Patreon, so hopefully that can still happen, but I know everyone is super busy this week. Everyone's working full days, and then Nick's leaving on Friday, I think. So it's a rough week, but I think we are going to get that out this week, and I'm excited for it. It's a thing I really am very excited that we're going to be able to get to do. So yeah. All right. Great. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Goodbye.